I live in China, man. I'm in China and I live here. How did I get here? Let me see. I'm gonna try to start this from the beginning. Um, so I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I decided to go to school in Chicago, Illinois. I went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and there I graduated with a Bachelor of the Fine Arts um, with an emphasis in fashion design. So, my senior year at the School of the Art Institute, SAIC, my senior year there, I decided that I was going to take Chinese language class and learn some Mandarin, mostly because I had some friends who came from China to go to school at SAIC, and every time we were eating lunch, they would always speak Chinese, and I didn't know what the hell they were saying, and they got tired of translating for me, so as a little jokey joke, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take Chinese language class, and I started taking it, and I was like, oh, what the hell is this? It's freaking hard. It's like learning two languages in one. I'm like, what the hell? Anyway, that's besides the point. So yeah, it was my senior year. I was taking Chinese, and I was also finishing up my fourth year in the fashion department. So I had like a collection of 5 with accessories that I had to finish, and I was stressed out. I was stressed out. Anywho, so my teacher, my Chinese teacher, approached me with the opportunity to go study abroad. She said that there was a scholarship opportunity that basically the Chinese consulate has with select schools around the country, around the world, where they want students to come to China and study, learn the language, learn the culture, and then go back to their country. So to begin this process, I had to apply to the scholarship, and I had to submit a portfolio, and I also had to go through an interviewing process. And I finalized all those steps, and they were like, hey, we picked you, you're going to China. So me and another student got the opportunity to go to Beijing, China, to study at the Central Academy of Fine Arts. Yeah. So I finished up my fashion collection. I finished up my Chinese class, got my degree, graduated, and then I traveled back home from Chicago to Jacksonville, Florida with my family, and hung out a bit because, you know, I had to get my mind right. I had to hang out with my family because I'm about to leave the country, and I've never left the country before. The farthest I've been is like Puerto Rico, and that don't even count because that's like U.S. territory. So, yeah. So I'm just hanging out, chilling at home with my family, and then we had I had a graduation / trunk party. Just friends and family came by, and one of my mom's friends was asking a lot of questions that were making me kind of nervous because I didn't know the answer to any of these questions, and she was just like, did you get your passport already? I'm like, no, I didn't get my passport because the scholarship program that I applied to told me that everything is covered. Tuition is covered, health is covered, room and board is covered, medical expenses are covered, and also my visa is covered. But then she was like, well, isn't your passport and your visa like 2 separate things? And I was starting to sweat because I'm like, is it? Shit. So I tried to play it cool, and I was like, yeah, I think it's pretty much covered, I think. So then the day after the party, I started freaking out because I'm like, shit, like I don't have anything. I was just chillaxing because the people who are in charge of this program kept telling me, you know, just wait till we contact you. You're just gonna have it's a long process. They warned me from the beginning, but I didn't believe the severity of how long this was gonna take. Yeah. So I emailed the program instructor and was like, hey, am I supposed to have my passport by now? And he was like, yeah, you should have been had your passport. And this was like maybe like a month maybe like, yeah, like about 4 weeks before I had to fly out to Beijing. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have my passport. I don't have my passport. I don't have my visa. I don't even have my damn birth certificate. I was just freaking out. So this is like the most complicated part of the story. Guys, I was going through a lot too, because there was like a good 10 days where I was like, I'm just not going to China. Like, I'm just not gonna go. And I was really freaking out because I put all my eggs in this basket. What else am I gonna do? I graduated. I didn't apply to any jobs or internships because I knew I was going to China to study abroad. So I was really freaking out, and I was like, I cannot live at home with my parents washing dishes and taking my little brother to football practice. I cannot do it. So to apply for my passport, I couldn't just do it the old regular schmegler way. I couldn't just go to the postal office and drop off my application because I needed it expedited and I needed it fast. So I had to go to a passport agency, and there's not that many. They're not in like very accessible places. Like, I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. The closest one to me was Atlanta, Georgia, and then the next one was in like Miami, Florida. I'm like, what the hell? That's 5 hours, that's 7 hours, like freaking out. But there was one in Chicago. And my birth certificate, which was in my room, that was also in Chicago. So my birth certificate and the passport agency was in Chicago. Then there was like the whole entire situation of like getting my visa, my Chinese visa. And if you, how do I explain this? The visa, the Chinese consulates are like split up regionally. So if like, since I live in Florida, I would have to fly to Houston, Texas and go to that Chinese consulate. And if like you lived in like, say, Indiana, you would have to like drive up to Chicago and go to that Chinese consulate. So they were like in like particular places around the country, and it was split up by your address. Luckily, I'm a scammer. No, I'm kidding, I'm not a scammer. But I had changed my address to Chicago. So, and I had a Chicago state ID. So I was able to go to the Chinese consulate in Chicago. So far my birth certificate was in Chicago, passport agency was in Chicago, and a Chinese consulate was in Chicago. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna have to go back to Chicago. So I packed a backpack. One outfit was like, that's it, I'm going to Chicago. My dad, bless his heart, he bought me a plane ticket to go, and I was in Chicago for like 4 days to just like get everything taken care of. I went to the passport agency and got my passport expedited, and I told them I needed it like now. And the two angels who work at that passport agency, you guys rock. You guys saved my life. I was able to get my passport the next day, and it was only the next day because I had complications with like the photo that I was trying to submit. It was like not on good quality paper or something, because I did print it out from a regular schmegler printer. They were like, no ma'am, we need this on photo paper. You need to go to a Kodak shop or a Walgreens. I was like, all right, I got it. Anyway, got my passport, and then the next day I went to the Chinese consulate, and they were like, okay, we'll have this ready in 2 days. I was like, yes, awesome. And so I picked up my visa, and then I hit the road. I picked up my visa from the consulate and went straight to the airport, and then went to the airport and flew back to Jacksonville, Florida. So I got everything taken care of, my passport and my visa, in 4 days. That's unheard of. And then I flew back to Jacksonville, Florida, and I was like, goodness gracious. That was the most stressful 4 days ever, I'm telling you. Well, probably not the most, but it was up there. I'm gonna give it a good 8.5, leaning towards a 9, maybe 8.5, 7, 6, 3, 2. And then I hung out for a little bit. And I had like maybe about a week or two before I had to fly out. So I got it done in the nick of time. And once I got home, I hung out for a little bit. I went to my little brother's first football game. I was like, yeah, that's my little brother. And then after that, it was like, it was time for me to get my plane ticket. And my family, we are like the poster children for procrastination. We always wait till like the last minute to do something. They're like, oh, this is due in 5 minutes. And we're like, oh, it's chill. We'll start it in 4.5 minutes. It's really bad. So we didn't end up booking my flight until like a week before I had to fly out. It was aggressive. So basically my plane ticket was super expensive, and I had like a million layovers. My original itinerary was like, I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. I had to drive down to Orlando, Florida, to fly out to LA, and then from LA, fly to San Francisco, and then from San Francisco, fly to Beijing. I'm like, damn, this is aggressive. And my layover that was supposed to be happening in California, I don't remember if it was LA or San Francisco, it was like 10 hours, a 10-hour layover. And it was overnight, so it's not like I could be like, oh, I'm gonna go out and look at some sights for 9 hours. No, it was a 10-hour like layover overnight. So once I got to the airport, the flight operator, the flight person was like, we overbooked this flight, so if you could come back tomorrow morning, we could fly you straight to San Francisco, skip out on your LA layover, and from San Francisco you could fly out to Beijing. And I was like, okay, sounds great. And I got some money for it, so I got a flight voucher. So I was like, sounds like a deal to me. So I came back the next morning, flew to San Francisco, and then started my flight to China. And the flight wasn't that bad, actually. It was 11 hours from San Francisco to Beijing. And I thought it was pretty chill. I could sleep though. I could sleep for a really long time. All I need is a blanket and I'm out. So 11 hours, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm just gonna sleep. That's fine. So I just slept the whole time. And we got 3 meals. They fed us. And the food was pretty good. I was like, what? I'm pretty sure you guys just microwaved this, but the food was pretty good. I landed in Beijing, went through customs. There's a long ass line for customs, and it moved pretty quickly. Went through customs, and it was so easy. Like, I just put my bag on the conveyor belt, and then I took my bag off the conveyor belt once it went through the little screening. It was like, I don't know. I heard all these horror stories about the flight. I heard horror stories about going through customs, and it was like easy peasy for me. So I don't know if maybe I just had some really good luck. Went through customs, got outside. Everything was in Chinese, of course. But they had like taxis just rolling up. I called the taxi. He came up, he put my bag in. He was like, it's gonna be $100 to get to your school. He said this in Chinese, of course. And I was like, okay, that's cool, because it was 100 kwai, so 100 yuan. 100 yuan equals like 15 US dollars. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Take me, man. So went to my school, and then that was a wrap. It was a wrap. It was great. I went to my dorm room though, and the dorm room was not too hot. It looked like a prison cell, but that's like a story for a whole nother day. Yeah. I didn't experience any jet lag either, and I was expecting it because I was like, I've heard all these, I did my research, I read, guys, and they were like, you're gonna have jet lag. I didn't have any jet lag. I don't know. It wasn't a thing. It's invisible. I don't know. yeah, so the traveling was pretty good. Like the most difficult part of this entire thing was getting a physical exam. I had to get like an extreme physical exam, chest X-ray, blood work. They wanted to know everything that was happening inside of my body and outside of my body. It was aggressive, and then getting my passport and my visa. Those were the two like hardest things for me to travel to Beijing. But excuse me. Other than that, it was easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I've been here for about a month now. I'm sorry this video is so late. It took some time. Also, I recorded this video before and I recorded it wrong because I'm new to this, guys. I'm new to this. So it was bad. It was awful. So I had to like re-record. Yeah. So once I got here, it was maybe like 4 days later. The teacher who's in charge of the foreign exchange students, he was like, hey, we're going on a trip. We're going to Dingsheng, China to look at like some Mongolian grasslands, and we're going to Chengde, China to look at some temples. And I was like, I'm down. And it was free. I was like, I'm definitely down. Hello. So got on the bus, drove like 5 hours north of Beijing, got to Dingsheng. I hated Dingsheng. Dingsheng was shit. It was like the North Dakota of China. Nobody was there. The people sucked. There was like tumbleweeds going down the street. I'm like, what is this, a ghost town? And everyone that we did see had never seen black people before, so they were like taking out their phone and recording, and they were like yelling out, hi, hi. And I'm like, okay, we get it. We get it, we're black, we get it. Yeah. And it was like they were only showing us like the Mongolian grasslands. They were nice, they were cool. But it was like trees. And I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. Like all I've seen is trees my whole life. These trees look like some regular trees from Chicago, some regular trees from Florida. I mean, I've seen enough trees in my life. But then we drove down to Chengde, China, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. The hotel was even better. It was just beautiful. We went to the summer resort, and it's like a huge resort full of temples and like buildings, beautiful architecture. And it took like 3 dynasties to build. I have pictures, and I'm going to insert them. I don't know how, but I'm going to. And it was just beautiful. So I'm really glad that I got to go there. But they can keep Dingsheng, because Dingsheng was shit. Yeah, I came back and now I am waiting for school to start. The school is like closed for National Day, but they celebrate this like it's an aggressive celebration. Like they closed everything down for like a week. So my campus looks like a ghost town right now. So I'm just waiting for everyone to come back and for school to start, because what the hell. Yeah. So I hope that this video was informational, I guess. I really do want to share my experiences with you guys, because, you know, I feel like this is an experience that everyone should have the opportunity to indulge in. Also, us young black people, we don't travel enough, and we need to. We need to see the world for sure. So hopefully that these videos, because I'm going to try to post them like once a week, maybe twice a week if I'm feeling fancy. But mostly once a week, like on a Sunday. Sunday's a good day. Okay, I digress. I'm gonna try to post this weekly, because I feel like, you know, if you guys don't get the chance to travel, then maybe you can travel through my experiences, and I'll try to fill you in with as much stuff as possible. So, yes, thank you for watching. For my family who's watching, this is for you too, because I'm not going to be able to talk to everyone, being that there's like a 12-hour difference between me and my family on the East Coast. Yeah, so this is for you guys. So I am alive and I'm eating good because the food here is bomb. Everything is spicy. I'm like, yes, more chili pepper, more chili pepper. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.